All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. First, thank you guys so much for coming. I know that firsthand, if you're a mom in this room, it's not easy to be here. If you're like me, my husband is home with our 3 little kids, and it's so funny because when I leave town, I lay out the outfits and I have the schedule, and when he leaves town, he just leaves, right? So I know it's a sacrifice for everyone to be here, but thank you so much for making it happen. We really hope that this will be beneficial. I wanted to share briefly where this whole idea stemmed from. So my background is in business, public relations, and I realized in 2020 what was happening to my kids. And that was really when I decided, you guys, I have to do something. I can't sit around and watch this anymore. I can't let my little boy go to kindergarten and be told he can choose if he wants to go to the girls' restroom or the boys'. Yes, and what I love is I think we saw this a lot in 2022 with Carrie Lake here in Arizona especially. It really woke up all these mama bears. And when I'm in the field with Turning Point Action, I'm able to talk to people, normal moms, right, every single day. And I noticed they want to be involved, but so many of us just don't know how and what is going to be the most beneficial. And our biggest thing with Turning Point Action is we want to give people basic steps that actually truly will make a difference. And so this is where this idea of coalitions come from. You're going to hear more about this in our Chase the Vote initiative all throughout AmFest, all throughout today, which is our action day, of course. But more importantly, I wanted to be able to have you guys hear from moms who I look up to so much, who are all local to this area, well, plus Nevada, a neighbor state. And they're just women that come from different backgrounds, but have all become extremely active. They're all activists in their own way, and I think it's just important and really helpful to be able to kind of hear what you guys might be able to do. And then I would love to have just an open discussion. So if you have a question, be thinking about it. We'll have a Q&A at the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and just ask these ladies to open up by explaining maybe who they are, tell us maybe about kids, what got you involved, and we'll start with Amy.
Hello, can you guys hear me? My name is Amy Wood, and I'm the Las Vegas field rep for Turning Point Action. Shout out to my Las Vegas people. Where are you guys at? I see you in the back. I am a wife. I'm a mom. I have 2 daughters, Brittany and Bailey, and they are 26 and 33. So I'm aging myself a little bit here, you guys. Sorry about that. But before I started working with Turning Point Action, I was actually a nurse. I was a nurse for 25 years, and I was in California. We know how that goes. And they started to implement mandates, and I refused. So I started to talk about government corruption, using social media, and then by the grace of God, I saw a post, and here I am. So,
first, thanks, Lacey, for having us. It's so cool to be a part of this organization, to be here today with all these freedom-loving, God-fearing people. My name's Kimberly Hoffman. I am a mom to 5 little blessings, 13 and under. I'm the wife of State Senator Jake Hoffman, who I like to say is the, actually not just me, the most conservative legislator in Arizona. Yes, clap for that. I am the first vice chair of Turning Point Action's Moms Coalition. I'm also the 3rd vice chair of our local Republican Party. I am a precinct committeeman, I'm a state committeeman, and most importantly, I am saved by the grace of God, by our one true God, Jesus Christ.
Is this on? Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Alyssa Gonzalez, and I am local here. I work for Turning Point Action. I'm the East Valley rep, so I cover Queen Creek and Gilbert and Chandler. And I have 2 little ones. I'm a wife and a mom of 2 little ones that are in the crowd, Nixon and Naya. They were the ones handing out the buttons and stickers, so. I got involved with Turning Point Action about 1.5 years ago, and I haven't looked back. It's been the best, most amazing experience. I kind of, same thing, in 2020, really decided that now is the time that we can't sit back and be silent any longer. They're my my why, and I'm just fighting for them and their future. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us here. And it is so important to be able to talk to moms because we are all so busy. And that's the reason why we started Arizona Women of Action 3 years ago, not just for moms, but for all women who are busy doing our lives and putting our, hand to the whatever needs to be done every week, as you all know. And then we all woke up 3 years ago and went, wait a minute, we've got to do something. We have to get involved. And so we started just making simple actions to be simple so people could do whatever they could on their schedule because we're all busy. So Arizona Women of Action basically puts out a newsletter every week, and we try to tell people what you can do, whether you have 5 minutes or 5 hours. And we've gotten involved in all kinds of issues, but specifically right now, we empower women in their local communities to restore education, to restore truth in education and parents' rights, as well as protect kids' innocence and their identities that are being really ripped away from them. And so that's what our mission is, and we have a very strong faith focus as well. So I love that, we all can't do it without God, so that's who we are. And I have 5 kids too, sorry. I should mention that. Hey, we're the 5 kid.
5 is the number.
So yeah, doing all that with 5 kids, and our youngest is 19, so he's here today too, so thank you.
I'm sitting next to an amazing woman when she can say all that and forget to tell you guys that she has 5 kids. So women can get a lot done, right? So just real quickly, I've been married to my amazing husband for 40 years. We have 2 kids just this year. Thank you. Our son is 34 and married. Our daughter is 30. And I have 2 quick mom stories that are just too amazing to not tell you. First of all, I thank my mother, who got pregnant with me when she was 17, that she chose life. And my second mom story is my own mom story. I was told when I was 19 that I wouldn't be able to have children. We were married for about 6 years. I'd prayed on and off for, God to bring us children. One day, my husband and I went to an event. We got in the car and we started praying for our second child. We had a miracle with our first son through adoption, with our son through adoption. And then we're 3 years later and we said, let's pray for another child. So we're driving down the road and just praying for God to bring us another child. And at the end of the prayer, all of a sudden, I said, in the name of Jesus, I pray for a girl to run out of an abortion clinic right now, in Jesus' name. And I looked at my husband and I was like, I have no idea why I just said that. Monday afternoon, completely unprompted by anything on our end, I received a phone call from the woman that coordinated our first adoption with our son, saying, she's from Mississippi, Tamra, do you want another baby? I was like, yes. I got on the phone call with that girl that afternoon. And I said, I'm praying for God's will for your baby. Well, she broke down in tears, told me this story that her father was pressuring her to have an abortion, shoved $300 in her pocket and said, you will have an abortion. She went to the clinic. She got into the counseling session, and she got up and she ran out. So miracles still happen, ladies.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Amy Carney, and I'm a mom of 6. And my firstborn are triplet sons that were 2020 high school graduates. So we know what happened to our 2020 grads, right? They ended up in our living room. And all of a sudden, and my daughter is a 2021 graduate. All of a sudden, I was like, what is going on here? Who is making decisions for my family and for my children? I had never paid attention to school board. You guys, 6 kids in our public schools in Scottsdale. Never paid attention until COVID happened. So I am that mom who was like, oh no, we're not going to do this. And so I ran for school board in November of 2022 and won, along with Karen Werner, 2 moms. We took both seats in Scottsdale, and we're excited to bring 3 more in and take back our board.
Thank you, ladies. As you can see, this is why I chose them. Amazing. They all have a different story and 6 kids. I think you are the winner. Amazing. I have 3 at home, and I think that's crazy. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to pivot slightly. I know that raising kids right now is an interesting time between social media, phones, internet, all the things they're dealing with at school, right? It can be very difficult for young girls. We have a lot of young girls here at AmFest who are thinking, why? Why would I bring a child into this world right now? What is the reason? I mean, it's so hard for some of them to realize maybe the gift that a child can bring to your life. So I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on what you might say to a young girl, young woman who is a little bit nervous about raising a child in a very woke society. Let's start with Amy.
All
This
right,
Amy.
yeah. I've got 5 sons and a daughter, and I tell my kids, have as many kids as you can, because the liberals are not, right? They are not having kids, so we want to have kids. There's nothing more beautiful than having children and a family. And so, yeah, I encourage my own children and all children. That's the most important thing we can do in life. So keep having kids.
Thank you, Amy.
Well, I believe the Bible, and it says, be fruitful and multiply. So there you go. And, you know, those of us that believe the right things, which I think pretty much everyone, if not everyone in this room, does, and, you know, whether you're a person of faith or not, you're here because you love your country and you want to see the freedom and the liberties that were given to us by our founders maintained and strengthened. And we have to have little patriots to carry that on to the next generation.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. And I would just say, and it's true that there's this trend right now towards pushing people away from motherhood, that they're saying, oh, this is too much. There's actually a book called Mom Rage that just came out, and another one called Touched Out. And it's like, oh, you know, we just don't want our kids are touching us all the time. It's very narcissistic. And what's happened is, you know, ladies, feminism, a true femininity has been stolen and has been weaponized against us. And so this feminist movement is so toxic, and it really is turning all that's beautiful and strong about women against us. It's making us think that, you know, motherhood is a drudgery, when actually it's a pathway to success and strength. It's one of the most beautiful things you can do, whether you adopt or give birth. And it's just also our natural gift of compassion and empathy has been turned against us as well. So we tend to want to feel kind and good, and what that does is, if we don't do that with truth and marry the idea of compassion with reality, then we end up destroying kids. And that's what's been happening so much with women. So I would just say, stay strong and stay true to your femininity that God gave you, and celebrate it. So.
No, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, let's clap. Absolutely. One thing, when she was speaking, it made me think of a trend. Many of you maybe who are on social media have seen the TikTok trend of, you know, everyone is nodding. Yes. It's glorifying not having children. You get to go on vacation, and they make it so amazing looking. And I thought that exact same thing. I said, what's wrong with our society? We became so narcissistic that we're saying it's so much better to never have children because I have all this money and I can sleep in. And yes, that is amazing, right? Amazing, I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't slept in for about 12 years. But yeah, my oldest is 11, almost 12. But at the end of the day, I think it says a lot about our culture, and I think we see that in the political sphere every single day. So I wanted to start with Alyssa here and kind of switch gears a little bit with actually politics. So obviously everyone knows Turning Point Action is our C4, and we are sponsoring today. So we want to talk about what can these women do, Alyssa, or what are your goals for 2024 to really make a difference and to hopefully try and save this place?
Well, moms are my passion. So we started the Moms Coalition, and that is really what I want to do, is get out and reach out to all the moms out there. Moms are one of the biggest demographics that are not turning out to vote. And we understand life is busy, life is hard, but we have got to stand up and have our voices heard. So my biggest passion is to just educate moms and reach out to them and let them know that this is the time. We can't stay silent any longer, or your children's futures will not be as bright as they could be. So really getting people out there, educated. We can't let, this is what the devil wants. The devil wants us to stop having kids and to not be fruitful and multiply. And so what we need to do as moms is be fruitful and multiply, not give up on what's going on in this country, not give up on the country, not give up on their future, and turn out to vote, please.
Amen. Kim, I know you are heavily involved. You're a wife of a politician, which is not easy. I say that's the worst job, honestly. That's by far harder than Jake's job, I'm sure of it. And will you share what your goals are for 2024? I know that you guys are both heavily involved, so just share kind of what you guys plan to do or what these folks can do to really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think something that we all can do, specifically moms, is create relationships and really focus this next upcoming year on just building and creating and fostering relationships with other moms, relationships with voters, relationships with grassroots activists, with people that you might want something from. And what do we want from them? Their ballot, right? We want to have a relationship with these people before we go ask them, hey, have you turned in your ballot? Or hey, do you need help? Do you have a question on your ballot? Is there something that you don't understand? Is there an issue you need to talk through? We need to have these relationships with people before they'll trust us and before we can ask them for something. Also, we want to work so hard so that we wake up on November 6th and we don't have regrets. So that we can wake up and there's no reason to say, oh, if only I would have done this, or if only I could have done more of that. We can't do that this time. We don't have the luxury of another 4 years of what we're seeing right now. So we need to work hard. We need to create relationships so that we don't have regrets.
Absolutely. I wanted to touch on two things there. Thank you. First with Alyssa. Alyssa said something it was shocking when I first heard this statistic. So we have a department within Turning Point Action that's all strategic. They look at numbers all day long. And they came and they said, Lacey, you won't believe the demographic that's not turning in their ballots. And I'm like, okay, who? Because I had this image in my mind of who that might be. And they said, it's moms. It's suburban moms. And then I thought about it. These Scottsdale suburban moms is what we initially were saying. And think of how busy a mom is. And I was thinking, when I get the mail, I put it on top of the other mail and the other mail and the other mail. And then I kind of forget about it. And if someone's not in politics like we are the minority in this room, right? We are the people who live and breathe politics. Most people, they aren't like that. And so they just need to be reminded, hey, turn in your ballot. Hey, turn in your ballot. And that's what our Chase the Vote initiative is. I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but 1,000 people were hired by the Democrat Party last election cycle to come into Arizona and chase ballots. That is how they won. If you look around, there's a reason why Katie Hobbs didn't have to campaign. She had really awesome ballot chasers. So we're hoping to be able to do something extremely similar. Obviously, the RNC is not funding that, so Turning Point Action is. And that's where we need your guys' help. Yeah, thank you. It's been a huge effort. If you would like to get involved, go to coalitions.com. I want you to sign up for a mom's coalition. If you're a mom, or you're a healthcare worker, we have all different ones, and we'd love to have your help with that. Kim, you said one other thing. You were talking briefly about relationships. And that was something that was so important, because I think oftentimes we think everyone views politics the way that we do, right? And I want to share a story. It's funny because she's actually in this room and she didn't know that I was going to share this. So one of my very best friends would come to my Super Saturdays, and I would go, and she would come and support me. She'd kind of watch my kids and help me hand out flyers, and it was super helpful. And one day she said, "Lacey, you're going to be so proud of me." And I'm like, "Yeah, what?" And she said, "I just voted for the first time." And I'm like, "You just voted for the first time?" And she's like, "Yeah." And this is someone who's very educated, master's degree, extremely successful. And it was in that moment that I realized we all have these people in our inner circle that we often overlook. And so sometimes we make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So I want you to think about your inner circle and start with friends, family, neighbors. Those are the people we need you to ask to vote, to get their ballots, to walk with them to the mailbox to turn in their ballot. Thank you. Okay. That's my tangent for the day. All right, Ames. So Amy Wood is awesome. She's from Vegas. She's been a stellar rep for us there. Amy, tell us, what are you doing in 2024? What can these women do?
Okay, so like these ladies said, really for us in Clark County, it's getting people to vote. I know we talk about all day long, and you see, let's register voters, and I think that that's great and it's important. But in Clark County alone, we had, which is Las Vegas and Henderson, and the 2/3 of the state of Nevada, if you're familiar with Nevada, we had well over 175,000 conservative Republicans not vote. So put that in perspective. We had some seats that were lost. One seat was lost by 8,000 votes. Another seat was lost by 800. So us getting people registered to vote isn't the issue. The issue is having people actually go cast their ballots. So I'm super excited. You ladies are going to love this, what I have coming back for you. Oh my God. I got my stuff from Matthew today. So exciting. I have so much data now on Clark County alone. It is amazing, and we're going to really make some changes there. So we're going to chase the ballots.
Yes, and all of this will be available for our activists at our Turning Point Action app. So when it comes time to chase ballots, we have an app that we've invested millions of dollars into, and one of the programmers is sitting in the audience right now, and we're so grateful. And with this, you're going to be able to go and see, oh, my neighbor Sally still has her ballot on her kitchen table. And then it's going to update in real time. So you will know exactly where to go to knock on doors. It will give you 10 doors at a time. You get those 10 doors, lovely. Gives you another 10 doors. You can't, maybe you come to me and you say, "Lacey, I can't knock doors." That's okay, we can make phone calls. We're gonna make some phone calls then. You can't make phone calls? Well, I guess we can send a text or write a postcard. We have thought of everything possible to be able to include everyone in this. So we really hope that you'll sign up with us and download that app, Turning Point Action, at your, if you use an Android, iPhone, we have it for both. All right, girls, so let's talk about balance. This is a question I get all the time, and I often joke and I say, well, there is no balance. It's organized chaos at my house all the time. But I want to hear, how do you guys balance being, maybe you're a business owner, you're a mom, you're an activist? How do you do it all? And anyone, I'm just going to open this. So whoever wants to take this question.
Well, I would definitely love to take that because as a mom of 5, and I tried homeschooling for a while. I mean, that just put me in a very dark place for about a year. But but it was the right thing to do, and God was just pushing that, and I'm so glad I did. But, you know, we all are familiar with mom guilt, and we can so get in that dark place because we think that there's this big standard that we have to meet. And, you know, really, if we don't come number one to the author and the perfecter of our faith, the one who gives us our purpose, who gave us our kids, who gave us this country, we have got to come and abide in our Lord. And that's my, yeah. If we do that first, everything else falls into place, because the reality is you will not be able to do everything, and you have to come to him every morning and say, God, what is it for today? What are my priorities? What are your priorities today? And I know many of you you don't have a relationship with Christ, but I would just encourage you to look into that, because there's no peace and no balance possible without that. So that would be my first advice.
Thank you for sharing that.
I can talk. my kids are pretty little. So family, I definitely agree with that. God, he is definitely my strength. But my husband, he takes over for me when I am working. So I am very thankful and blessed to have him. And then my mom's here too. She is also a big help. So family, I lean on them for everything. I also have a salon in Tucson, and so I go back there, and I'm all over the place, but I do it for them, and they know that, and we talk openly about that, we have to just sacrifice a little bit right now so that their future is bright and on the right track for that. Anyways, yeah. Family and God, 100%.
I'll make a comment if that's okay. So first of all, I think one of the things I learned is so much of motherhood is where's your heart? So if your heart, I used to be a little judgy, about women that worked full time and had children, okay, when my kids were little, because I chose not to do that at that time, to be devoted and be home with them. But then I came to realize, it's really where your heart is and where your heart focus is and your priorities are. Because you could have a, quote, stay-at-home mom who sits on the phone all day gabbing with her girlfriends and ignoring her children, and those children aren't going to be any better off. And you can have a full-time working mom that is devoted to ensuring that she takes care of the needs of her children and she's tuned into them individually. And she's, so who's the better mom, right? So I think part of it is we need to get rid of our categories that we put things in and realize that we want to live from the heart and have that care and interest in each of our children. So life is more about rhythms, right? Every day can't be the same. I can't do that. We're like 1 hour for this, 1 hour for that. I go crazy. But you have the rhythms so that over time you're really touching your children in a way that you need to. I've been an activist, as a volunteer and professionally for almost 20 years now, working with local, state, and federal organizations in politics and policy. And I know that we can balance it, we can make it work, and we can also bring our children along. I am proud that both of my kids are amazing patriots. They love our country. And we didn't even have to work that hard for them to do that. My daughter told us a few years ago her first crush was Brett Baer. Because he was on TV every night. She was 6, crushing on Brett Baer. Anyway.
I love that so much. My little girl ran for student body president in 6th grade this last year, and it was so funny because she has come to so many Turning Point events. She was making her poster. She told her dad she needed a sponsor. She needed shirts made. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit embarrassing, but whatever, girl, go for it. So it was Make Caucus Great Again. Caucus is the name of her school. And she won, so there you go. And with that, I would say sometimes as moms, mom guilt is the hardest thing for me. My boss knows that. Anyone who works with me knows that. It's a constant balance. And sometimes I often remember, though, of these small little snippet moments where you can teach your children things so many times that they remember things, right? So it's like, yes, I can tell you something sitting here, or I can go out and show you that you can do whatever it is that you want to do, right? And I think that's something that I really, really hope that every mom in here understands, that whether you choose to stay home, you choose to work, you choose to kind of do both, you're doing whatever's best for your kids, and at the end of the day, they will learn and they watch you. So if you're working, that's lovely. If you're staying home, that's lovely. I think it's just so important what you said, Tamara, let go of the categories and remember where that heart is. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes here, maybe 14. So I'm going to open up for questions. So be thinking of questions here. I have one final question, sorry for the board. I want you guys, whoever wants to take this one, I thought of this one last second. Tell me a story, a funny story, an interesting story, a memory, something that's happened to you as an activist while working on the campaign trail, and what made that a memory that you won't forget.
So this wasn't when I was an activist, but it is a pretty funny story. I was with all 5 of my kiddos at the grocery store. I don't know why I did that. But I was in the produce section after school one day just grabbing a couple of things, and this guy was kind of watching me and the kids, and he was like, psst. And I was like, okay. So he wheels over to me, he's on an e-scooter, and he's like, are you conservative? And I'm like, yes. I mean, this was in Gilbert, so it's a very conservative area. And he's like, oh, I thought so because you have 5 kids and you're here. And I could just tell by the looks of you. So I was kind of interested in what he was going to say. So he's telling me that he's sneaking around inside the store because it was hot, getting signatures for candidates because they're not allowed inside the grocery stores. So he's like, so I just want to talk to you about this candidate. He's an awesome guy. He's pro-life. He's pro-family. He's really conservative. He's a constitutionalist. I support him fully. Like I would vote for him for anything. And I'm just here gathering signatures because I love him so much, and I'm so just impressed with this guy. And I'm wondering if I could get you to sign for him to get him on the ballot. And so I was like, well, he sounds great. What's his name? He's like, Jake Hoffman. So my oldest and I start cracking up because obviously that's my husband, and I had signed a petition for him already. So I told the guy, I was like, I'm really glad that you're out here gathering signatures. Maybe do it outside so you don't get in trouble. But I've already signed for him, so I think we'll be good to go. But moral of the story is, he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who he was talking to. And as an activist, as someone who knocks doors or makes phone calls or builds those relationships, you might not at first know who you are talking to. You might not know their beliefs or who they're going to vote for. You might not know. But you do have to make sure that you know who you're talking about. And he sure did. He knew about my husband. He knew who he was talking about. He knew who he was gathering signatures for and fighting for. So make sure you know what you're passionate about, and make sure that you are educated in regards to those things, because you never know who you're talking to.
Oh my gosh, there's so many stories through campaigning for school board. But one thing that stands out to me is sometimes we forget that we do have many conservative educators in our public schools, and they are dying. And so when we took the seats, we were at a back-to-school rally for the district, and we didn't realize, teachers came running down after with like tears in their eyes, so happy that they have someone representing them. And so, so for me, that's my why too, where we do have some really good teachers. They're leaving. We don't want them to leave, and so we are supporting them. And so just don't forget our conservative educators, because they do need support as well.
I love that. Thank you. And one of the best things you can do, ladies, is run for school board. Yes, truly. Yes, it makes a huge difference. So thank you, Amy. All right, now we will open it up for questions. And if you want, you can direct it to one panelist, or you can just have it be open.
All right, and we are recording this, so we're going to ask that you speak into the microphone with your question.
So I come as an emissary from the state of Ohio, and as a parent and a mother, I want to share a little bit about this absolute catastrophic loss that we had this last fall. In the state of Ohio, parents have lost all legal rights to their child's reproductive care. Children are no longer considered adults or children in this process, and a medical official will be deciding whether or not and what kind of care our children will be getting. And so the way Ohio was set up was actually foreign people came into our state, petitioned people in parking lots. We tried to amend the Constitution so that the big liberal sections of our state would not take over. We lost terribly. So, and then along came the next punch in the gut was to lose our parental rights. A lot of it was focused on abortion only. That is only a small part of what this system has been set up in our state. There are at least 13 to 15 more states set up in this next year that will have this exact same thing happen. and it is catastrophic, and how to unwind it is going to be quite difficult. So all these other things are nice, but we are now in full battle mode to save our children. And so anything you guys want to share about that, but I wanted to let you know.
I'll just briefly, and then you guys can share, but working with Kim here, Kim Miller, who's the founder and president of Arizona Women of Action, a wonderful group to check out on social media and on the website. And we're just launching a new 501c3 educational initiative called Smart Families and Smart Schools. Thank you. And I will be working with Smart Families. And to your point,
What does that stand for?
Oh.
Smart. Oh, just so that, before she goes, we haven't quite launched, well, we are going to. We have all of it laid out, but we haven't announced it yet, but so you're kind of the first to know, but that'll be announced in January. But SMART stands for Schools Making Academics Return to Truth. And so Smart Families Network is what Tamara's going to lead and gather these other women and families, grandmothers as well, grandparents. We need them to be able to support these things. So yeah, protecting kids, and that means kids from the embryonic stage all the way up till, whenever. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, so yeah, thank you, Kim, and just thanks to Kim for all she's done in the state of Arizona. It's been amazing these last few years. I just want to throw that out there so that, we want to connect with you, network with you, support you, hear your stories, moms that have kids in public school. People always say, get your kids out of school, which is great if you can do that, and we're the best state to do that in with the ESAs. But yes, thank God. Thank God, hopefully we can keep those. We got to keep fighting that legislative battle. But all that to say, 80% of children in this country are still in public schools, and that's not going to change very much. So thanks to, Amy for being on the school board, we still have to fight as parents. I want you to know that we're here for you, to hear your heart, to hear your thoughts, to hear what you're struggling with, and to work together.
Yes, and I just wanted to say about the life issue. Yes, Arizona is one of those states that has a ballot initiative right now that they're trying to get signatures for. They're lying to you. They're telling you that, it's not all the way up until birth. No, it really is. It opens the door that a woman can get an abortion anytime in her pregnancy, all the way up until birth. And it also does strip away parents' abilities to help their daughters going through this crisis time. It is so destructive. And so what we're telling people is, yes, the abortion issue is very difficult to navigate sometimes with people, but if you come, like you said, from the heart, and you talk to them mom to mom, woman to woman, ask them what they know, and then you tell them what you've learned and why you are so want to defend those beautiful children, and the moms who are in crisis, who are not, they are being manipulated, they're not being told the truth about what happens with abortion. Tell them the truth, be their friend, and get people around, have coffee at your house, be bold. This is the time to do it. We're going to lose. We don't want to end up like what happened in Ohio. So sad, but we got to keep fighting there. But let's rally around and talk about this here in Arizona.
Thank you for that. We have about 5 minutes, and I know we have a lot of questions, so I'm going to ask you guys form a line right behind this woman right here, and we will do our best to get to as many as possible.
Short and succinct would be great. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. First of all, thank you to each and every one of you for being in the trenches and in this fight. We need all hands on deck. But my name is Seek Smith. I'm the founder of Mom and Dad Army, and I want to ask whoever wants to answer. We get a lot of messages from the dads. How do we get the dads involved? Because the moms have been in the front lines for the last few years, but we have our Dad Army back there and a bunch of them downstairs. But yeah, so I'd like to hear from each of you. How do we get more of the dads involved?
I would say community events, bring family events. We actually did a trunk or treat event and just really made it about the community in the area. And we flyered mailboxes, and you went to apartment complexes, and it doesn't always have to be about the mom. We want everybody involved, and dads are just as powerful as moms are. So thank you for your Dad Army. We love that. I've been talking about us doing a Dad's Coalition for a while. It hasn't kicked off yet, but hopefully we can make that happen, because we want the strong men to be just as powerful as the strong moms. So
One thing that I would touch on is I'm a mom of 3 little kids, and I knew if I was going to do this job and I was going to host events on a Saturday, I wanted it to be very kid-friendly. So I had bubbles, and we had treats, and we made it very kid-friendly. It was a family event, and that's what Turning Point does different than any other org, I would argue, in the movement. We said, bring your kids. Have them come knock doors with us. That would be lovely, the more the merrier. And so I think it's opening up to the family and making this a whole family effort, not just a mom, not just a dad, the whole family.
yeah, just flyering like the mailboxes and stuff was, just doing that community event. We had people coming from all over that were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys were right down the street. I love Turning Point. Or, just like she said, if you make it about the family, dads are naturally going to come. So, yeah.
I have 2 things really quick. I want to meet your data person. I'm a data person. Can you identify yourself?
I don't think he's in here.
Okay.
So Matthew Martinez.
Okay, so I
is
wanna
next
meet
Matthew
door
Martinez.
Yeah, I do. We do data.
We can definitely introduce you.
Yeah, so when I'm hooking up with the data people throughout the country. My question, though, is messaging is so important, and at least in Orange County, where we're from, conservative people hold their ballot to the last day. And so, really trying to get on the same plate on that. What's your messaging on, and I don't know you're voting in Arizona. We have 30 days in California. What's your messaging? Vote early, wait till the day. What are you guys sending out?
I think the messaging has changed a little bit because we have seen what they've done the last minute, right? Here in Arizona, they shut down the machines, they ran out of paper. We've had water leaks, you name it. So we're kind of switching it a little bit. I would say the messaging needs to be to vote early and track your ballot, right? So if we're tracking our ballot, we're able to see exactly when that vote gets counted. We can see what's going on. We can start to see if there's something funny going on. But I would definitely vote early and follow the ballot.
And I'm just going to expand on that. You guys will run into people that say, nope, I vote on election day. And that's perfectly fine. My response is, no, I do. I say, you know what, that's great. Because they're going to vote regardless. What we're doing with Chase the Vote is we are targeting the people who likely would not vote anyways. So these are our 2 out of 4s. These are our 1 out of 4s. That's who we're going to knock on the door. Those are the ballots that we want early, because they're not going to turn in their ballot unless someone's knocking on their door 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Does that make sense? Thank you.
Hello, ladies. Hi, Amy. I wanted to know, I'm curious about once you got on the school board, what was successful changes that you did? And then what was tough and is still tough for you to change? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's tough when you're the minority. We are a 2 to 3 board. So the most we can do right now pretty much is expose. Every chance we have, we're able to expose what's going on. We have had a lot of unexpected lawyers come down on us to silence us. We're under a lot of scrutiny in Scottsdale. But we just had something where we're having a lot of staff turn to us. They've seen us this past year on the dais. They're trusting us. And they are turning to us and telling us things. We had our lead psychologist, for example, was hired, and she's living in Germany, making tons of money. And staff came to us, and we were able to get her gone, done, and move on. So we are able to make small changes. It's very hard to make policy change when you're a minority, but we are definitely able to expose. And I think the more that the community, all of you in this room, get involved in your school boards, show up and speak, and also help your conservative school board members expose things. I know you've come and spoke. Several of you in this room have come and spoke. It is so huge that you help be a voice for us until we can take back, flip that board in November 2024.
Hi, so I was just curious if you guys had any advice for future moms who, with the current state of the economy, it's very difficult to want to be a stay-at-home mom and have 6 or 7 kids and make that a financial reality. So as someone who wants that lifestyle, what would you guys say is something I should be prioritizing or chasing after to be able to live that?
I would say, very good question, and I don't have all the answers for you, but first and foremost, choose a partner who's going to support that. If you're choosing somebody who is like, you're going to be the best lawyer in the world, that's great and all, but be a mom first. Be a mom first. So partner choice is huge. Do you have an idea?
I would say you'll have to sacrifice the fun things. That, like the little things. So save where you can, and sacrifice just the little things so that you can, maybe downsize your home, maybe choose 1 car instead of 2. There's little things that you can do to make that work. I've bounced around from not fully staying at home, but not working as much. And yeah, it's a challenge, but I think that we all can put it, like she said, choose the right person. But if you put your mind to it and budget and sacrifice the little things, there's definitely a way around it for sure.
I love that. And we're going to have our final question here by Axel.
Hi. I was just wondering, how much coffee do you think you drink daily?
We have IVs of caffeine in us on a regular basis. No.
Too much. And on that, let's give these ladies a round of applause. Amen, buddy. Thank you all so much. Thank you, ladies. I look up to you so much. I'm so grateful these people could learn from you. Please go get involved with them. Come and learn about them. Come and learn about their organizations and have a fun day at AmFest.